Welcome everybody. Today I have Dr. Rehan Shahid with me, and he owns the Pleasant Smiles Dental. He owns the Mount Pleasant Dental Assistant School. He also owns the Practice Success Academy. And from what I saw recently, Dr. Rehan, you have just started your own podcast as well, right? So welcome on the show. And how do you manage all of it? How are you doing it?
With a lot of prayer and planning. It takes a lot to manage and juggle different things, but I feel if I can put it on paper with a good team in place, then it makes it easier for me.
Yeah. And I think having a good team is the key to running so many businesses, right? So that's what my first and foremost question is to be. How did you put such systems in place that give you that leverage that you can not just function, in your personal life smoothly, but you can also have so many businesses running smoothly without you physically in there, all the time.
Yeah, so I guess no business ever runs smoothly. There's always hiccups, but it's knowing what do you do when you have a hiccup that helps. So one of the things that I've done over time is I learned really well how to fire people, and I learned really well
Mm.
how to hire people. And so I always like to use the phrase hire slow, fire fast, which means, take your time to hire the quality candidate. But then when you see someone not performing well, a lot of dentists, they just keep that person for a long, long time, but fire fast, right? That person's sucking up your energy. They're destroying your culture. You know when you don't want someone on the team, don't, prolong it. And just knowing that thing of hire slow, fire fast really helps preserve that mental peace and just keeps moving you forward. So you're not drained at all.
Yeah. And although I've not been in dentistry for as long as probably you have, but from what I've seen is that dentists find it really hard to delegate, right? So when you talk about hiring the right people and taking your sweet time, what do you do? I mean, what is your process like?
So I think with Dennis, like you said, Dennis being myself, we all struggle in delegation, and that's because we're all type A personality. The dentist wants to own every single thing, micromanage like crazy, and it's a mindset shift of saying, "Hey, I'm willing to accept 80% quality versus 100%," because anything you delegate, they're not going to do it as great as you. Some may even do it better, but knowing that you are willing to accept that mental mindset shift of 80% quality, that gives you peace. And it's really that mindset shift. After that, then it's just being very clear with directions and parameters of their scope of what they need to do, what they are being delegated with, and then just stepping away and letting them do it. Dan Martell has a quote that is, he follows the 10-80-10 principle, which means as an owner of a business, you should do 10% of the work in the beginning, delegate the 80%, and then do the final 10% check at the very end to see if it was done well. And
Hmm.
it requires a mindset shift first, and then it requires you literally getting out of the way to let them succeed in the role that you hired them for.
Yeah. And I think it really comes down to having the right KPIs in place, right? That helps you track the progress and see where the gaps are, right?
Yeah, KPIs or even just feedback and communication. If I've
Hmm.
delegated something and I come back a month later, that's on me. I didn't, go in faster. So if you delegate something, you should have a cadence of meetings or communication that allows that person to ask you questions when they're feeling stuck, or at least having milestones. Hey, by this day you should have this done. If not, let's hop on a call. Let's talk. What can I do to help support you in getting this done?
Yeah. And how many days are you spending in your practice right now? I mean, with everything
Uh,
else going on.
I'm I'm 3 days clinical. I still enjoy dentistry, so I want to keep my hands fresh. I still like blood, so I like still pulling teeth. The other 2 days are more administrative, where I'm focusing on the other businesses and just really playing the CEO of my company and figuring
Hmm.
out how to lead my companies toward the success goals that I have planned for it.
Hmm. And then what was the turning point for you, Dr. Rehan? I mean, why didn't you think about turning Pleasant Smiles Dental into a group, like a larger group? And why did you venture into having your own success academy, having a podcast, and having a dental assisting school? I mean, what was the turning point for you when you realized that you want to be something beyond just a dentist, right? Beyond just a practice
Yeah.
owner. You wanted to be a business owner.
So it was a mindset shift. A lot of dentists lie to themselves and they go into dentist school, on their statement to dental school, and during their interview, they'll say, I want to get in because I love helping people and I love fixing teeth because that is my way of helping people. But most of that is a lie, right? we don't go into any profession because we want to just help people. We want to
Yeah.
do that plus everything else, right? I wanted to go into a profession where I could help people, but I also could make money. I also could
Yes.
have a family lifestyle. So it's all those things. And I realized early on, I'm not going to dentistry to be the clinical person. I'm going because I love being an entrepreneur, and dentistry was my means to be that entrepreneur while also satisfying my desire to help people, the desire to give back, the desire to create a family lifestyle that allows me to have financial comfort while also serving others at the same time. So
Yeah.
it was that mindset shift. And I've been an entrepreneur since I was a kid, from selling candy at school to, selling Yu-Gi-Oh cards when I was a young kid. So that entrepreneur bug was always in me, and dentistry was just my one way to be an entrepreneur. So when we opened our first practice, I wasn't there to be the dentist. I was trying to figure out how do I hire a dentist to replace me as fast as I can, so then I
Mm.
can now continue my entrepreneur journey.
Yeah. Yeah, and those memories stick with you, right? I started
Yeah.
by selling my old books, and I made quite good money with it. So, and I know that you practice with your brother, right? So, how is that?
Yeah.
How does that pan out? Do you find it
Uh,
interesting, challenging? What would you
It's
say?
a mixture of both. So, everyone knows there's always challenges when you work with family, and ultimately at the bottom of everything, it's good. It's a blessing, right? Knowing that
Yeah,
you get to work with someone you can trust wholeheartedly is always a blessing. The
absolutely.
challenges that come in with is when you work with family, you expect more with family than you would a normal person. So, if I had a normal business partner, I'm not going to call them at 11 p.m. at nighttime, but I can call my brother at 11 p.m. at nighttime and talk about work if I wanted to. And so you
Yeah.
you request more and you require more when you work with family, and that sometimes can lead to other challenges like that. But overall, it's always a blessing having, someone within that realm of that profession that you can trust, wholeheartedly and undoubtedly.
Yeah. And it's always about having those clear boundaries, whether you're working with family
Yeah.
or whether you're working with another partner, right? You need to know what your responsibilities are and you need to give space as well, right? So
Yeah.
absolutely. So Dr. Rehan, now that you're just 3 days clinical, like you said, what are the top three KPIs I would say that you're tracking every week in order to make sure that, in order to see which business requires your attention at that point in time?
Yeah. So one is always my profitability number, right? My EBITDA. In dentistry, I like to be at that, at the minimum a 20% EBITDA, but my goal is a 25% EBITDA. If you can get higher than that, great. Um, that's one metric that I look at to see, hey, I'm doing all this. I want to be profitable if I'm doing all of it. If I'm not, what levers do I need to change? So that's my high yield number that I look at. The second one is just my production per month. I want to know, am I increasing? Am I low? Am I good? The third one is just really collections there. If I had to say three, all the dentistry that we're doing, are we getting paid in the work that we're performing or are we not? And with those three, then that can then branch out into seeing, well, if my production is not there, is it a case acceptance problem? Is it a treatment acceptance problem? Is it a um, hygiene problem? I mean, and is it a new patient problem? So those then branch out to further KPIs if I need to further investigate.
Yeah. So as a business person, I know, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well, that with the rising cost of everything going on, right? You're spending more on advertising, you're spending more on the tools, equipments to make sure that everything is top notch for your patients. It becomes a challenge to maintain the margin that you set out for yourself, like you said, 25% EBITDA, right? So how do you
Yeah.
decide on a mix of treatments that you're giving through your practice that makes sure that your business stays at that level where you're wanting it to go?
Well, the easy answer is always produce more, but that's not always easily done. So just doing strategies that help get you to where you need to go is important. So, for example, a lot of dentists, the average dentist is not part of a buying group. That's the
Mm.
easiest knob to turn. If I am a part of a buying group, whatever a normal dentist gets for X percent of dollars, I can get at a fraction of that, right? So it's an
Mm.
easy knob to turn. Um, Choosing better labs that are still high quality but more affordable helps with that too. So it's really just still knowing what to do. And a lot of dentists just don't know that there are even buying groups out there or that a lot of them use a lab that's in their neighborhood, right? You don't
Yeah.
have use a lab that's in your city. You can use different labs. And they just don't know because you don't get taught this stuff in dental school. You just kind of pick it up. And if you bought a dental office from an older guy, you're probably going to use the same lab that that person used until you talk to a dental consultant or coach or someone that said, hey, there's other ways from that.
Okay, so there are two approaches to running any business, right? You either produce more or you do more of the work that gives you better margins. Like we talk about high value dentistry, right? So what do you think are the pros and cons of both?
I think you could do high level dentistry if you know how. But there's a misconception that a lot of people think about, which is, if I go learn the high level dentistry, I'm going to be the millionaire dentist, right? And that's what the average dental student graduates from is like, hey, I'm going to go learn how to do all in X or implants or, third molar surgery. And the problem is that when they learn it, they have the skill set, but now they don't know how to sell it. And
Mm,
so it's not just go learn the high skill, it's learn how to apply the high skill because if you can't sell it, then the skill set didn't matter. And so I'm a firm
mm,
believer the skill definitely helps, 10 extra growth, but more than that, the communication part is what 100x is your growth because you could
mm,
be extremely successful if you can sell treatment. But if you have the skill set, I mean, there's so many dentists that I know that are way more skilled than I am, but they will always underproduce compared to me because they can't communicate. And so they don't invest their time and energy into communication courses, but they will throw money at, implant courses or wisdom teeth
mm.
courses. So it's
Yeah,
a mixture of both. The
yeah.
communication is a lot more priority for me than the clinical increase in skill set.
Yeah, and there's such a large variety of ways that people present these high value cases. So I once threw in a question in one of the groups, and it was amazing. Some are using models, some are giving people, just digital displays to show exactly what's possible for them, right? So
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, for us, for the people who are not in dentistry, those jargons don't mean anything, right? If I'm walking in, I want to see myself looking like somebody else that I've imagine myself looking like. So that's what matters, and that's where a lot of dentists fail because they don't understand how they can connect with the patients to see where I am at right now. So at times it could be about finances, but they're not willing to understand that they need to give me that
Mhm.
space and just educate and not sell at that point in time. So you're absolutely right. And when you talk about all those DSOs and the DSOs having that price advantage, how do you think private practice owners, whether they own a single location or a multi-location practice, how do you think they can compete and make sure that their patient retention is not getting affected and they have those people coming back over and over again?
I think, there's always a debate of as DSOs evolve and grow bigger, the private practice sector goes further down. And I think it's about quality. So I'm not saying DSOs are not great quality. I think the single practice owner it's more of a business skill. So the reason DSOs succeed is it's not that they're higher skilled in clinical skill set. It's that they have a lot more business acumen, right? They have these, billionaire CEOs that know how to run a business. The single practice older doctor is probably 55, about to retire, knows nothing about the business at that point. And
Yeah.
so the private practice fails not because of the DSO being big, it's because the DSO's more business acumen skill set versus the older doctor might be just more clinical skill set. And that's because a lot of people don't value the business side of dentistry and they think skill set is, what makes money. And to some extent it does, but you have to be able to train your team members to get the patients in the door, to be good at phone calls, to have marketing strategies way
Mm,
before you start producing dentistry, right? The production
yeah.
part of dentistry is the very end part. Getting everyone through the door, training everyone to be able to do the procedure, that's the initial part that has to be focused. A lot of the average dentist doesn't focus on that. And that's
And what
why
fact?
DSOs overpower that.
Mhm. And when it comes to patient retention, what do you think are the factors other than just doing good dentistry that create that connection with the patients to make sure that they're not going to the dental office next door?
Yeah, I think just like you said, the connection, right? If I'm a dentist and I did your dentistry and then that's it, I haven't really created a connection. But if you call the patient the night of, now after you've done the procedure to check up on them. I just did what no DSO does, right? I just created that
Mm.
connection. When you are able to, have birthdays on your schedule and send a birthday card to patients, now you know, hey, the patient has a connection. I just did something no DSO does, right? So it's
Mm.
really asking yourself, how do you build that connection? And if we tell people our patients are our family, how do we actually prove that they are a family? And these are the action items to do, right? I
Yeah.
always tell dentists, if you want to grow your practice super fast, call every single patient of yours that you've put a needle in or done a procedure on in the afternoon or the evening and just check up on them. It's like really like a 30-second call, but that makes them super guaranteed to come to your practice and not want to leave you because you were the dentist that did that.
Yeah.
Medical doctors don't call their patients. DSOs
Mm.
don't call their patients. That's the advantage
Mm.
private practices have.
Yeah. All right, Dr. Han, you talked about case acceptance, and because I work a lot in the implants field, and I see that many times that case acceptance comes down to the price of implants, right? And it comes down to a matter of how they're going to finance it. So, how important is the role that your team plays in making sure that they're building that trust and confidence with the patient? Because the dental industry right now is so volatile with the teams being understaffed, and how do you make sure that you're maintaining that consistent level of communication all across your practice to make sure that patients are not getting that salesy vibe from you. They have that confidence, and it trickles down from the front desk all the way to the doctor.
So I think it's a 50-50 approach when you're doing an implant sell or a case presentation, so to speak. 50% comes from the doctor. The doctor has to talk about the value of that treatment rather than just saying, hey, you have a bad tooth, you need to get rid of it and put an implant there, right? There's not a value in that conversation. So we have to show as a doctor the clinical component, hey, if you lose that tooth, you're going to not be able to bite or eat properly as you used to. Here's an alternative to make sure you still have that quality of life that you've always had, if not even better. So showing the value is the doctor part. The team part then is to now say, how do I get that value and make it affordable and doable for the patient? And sometimes, you have patients that can afford that, and sometimes you don't. That doesn't mean we give up right there. That's where then we start talking about third-party financing companies to see how do we, uh, take that, unwrap it, and make it affordable in a way that the patient's comfortable. So it's never, I don't like to say, don't sell. We're in a profession of selling, and selling is
Mm.
not a bad word. I love to sell dentistry, but there's a way to do it where patients doesn't feel that they're pushed into a corner and forced into it by creating
Yeah.
that value and then having your team make it affordable to where the ball is always in the patient's court and they don't feel sold, they felt taken care of.
Yeah. And I was reading online somewhere that the doctors were so frustrated on a thread where they said that the minute they mentioned the price of implants, it looks like the patient just heard $1 million. It's a shock on their face that's actually comical. So, what would you suggest to dentists who are actually frustrated by the price shoppers walking in? People who are actually interested, but it's just the price that throws them off.
Yeah, so I mean, you're always going to have the price shopper patients, but it's the energy that the doctor gives too. So if I have a patient and, we throw the price out there, let's say $5,000 for an implant. At
Hmm.
that point, if the patient gets shocked and the doctor like gets shocked too, then the doctor is feeding that energy right back. So that's where
Hmm.
the confidence of the doctor and the way they transition is important. So if the
Hmm.
patient gets shocked because of a price point, as a doctor, that's where I would be trained to tell the person, hey, great news though. We have amazing financing companies or monthly payment options is a better word I like to use that can help with everything. Right. So I'm getting that shock feeling and I'm transitioning it out to, hey, we're going to take good care of you because we do this all day, every day, and we have companies that help make this affordable for you. So I'm,
Yeah.
I'm, I'm taking that opportunity to be shocked away from the patient by telling them there is a solution here and we're here to help.
Hmm. So tell me a little about the Practice Success Academy, Dr. Han. What's your vision behind it? What is it meant to do? And
Yeah.
have you
So
just started it? How long has it been here?
the Practice Success Academy originated from a lot of people, owner dentists used to ask me a bunch of questions like, hey, how are you a COVID grad and you have two offices? And then eventually it was four. How do you train your teams? How do you market? How do you, do all this stuff? And I got tired of answering the same question over and over and over again. And so I figured, let me just put people in a group and then they can ask me all the questions that they want. And I was
Mm.
going to search up a group, but I saw there's like a million Facebook tunnel groups out there.
Mm.
And I didn't want to be that next million and one Facebook group. So I decided, most of these people were asking me or texting me personally about these questions. So why not just make it still intimate to be different? And so we created a WhatsApp community that was purely for owner dentists to preserve the high quality of the group and purely non-clinical. So everything
Mm.
in business, meaning leadership, team development, how do you, get more profitable? How do you do marketing, vendor discussions, et cetera. So literally nothing clinical, pure business. And that's how
Mm.
it originated. And then it grew into people wanted more help. They loved the intimacy of the group. So unlike on a Facebook group, if you post a question, it gets lost the next day, right? In a
Yeah.
WhatsApp group, you're gonna see the question and it makes it so intimate because everyone sees the question. Everyone
Mm.
gets a chance to reply to it.
Mm.
Um, so it grew from that WhatsApp group. Now there's 430 plus owner dentists in the group. Um, it grew from that to now I do private one-on-one coaching for people that need extra help, or even a group coaching model where people maybe they can't afford at that point in their life or company a one-on-one coaching, but they still want some help, and that's where the group
Mm.
coaching comes in. And
Mm.
my goal to Take Practice Success Academy is, still having these coaching models, but then really trying to have a platform for dentists to, train certain concepts that they feel they benefit from. For example,
Mm.
you know, case acceptance is verbiage training, and there's a million
Yeah.
courses out there. If I go and launch a course, is my course going to be better than anyone else? Maybe, maybe not. And I don't think you can in one single course learn how to be the best at something. It
Mm.
takes practice and it takes coaching, right? Michael Jordan, best basketball player in the world at the time, he still had a coach. So it's not that he had a coach because he wasn't the best. I mean, he was the best. He still needed a coach because he knew it takes constant practice. And when you're in the game, you don't know what all you're not doing. So you need someone from the outside peeking in. And that's what a
Absolutely.
good coach does.
Yeah.
So that's my goal
And
with
we're
ESA is just, establish a brand of high quality coaching that helps people and just be some offer of a service that can help dentists help buy back their time and scale their practice.
Oh my God, you must have a treasure box of all the secrets that you guys talk about in that group there, right?
We do. So we have a lot of pearls. I mean, I tell people every one of those pearls probably can make you like 10K. It's a good. I mean, it's good pearls if you could implement on. It's a lifesaver. The problem with dentists is, a dentist myself, we are horrible implementers. So what I like
Yeah.
to do during my coaching, I like to focus more on managers because I know in my private one-on-one coaching, managers are the implementers. The dentist is the
Yeah.
visionary. So we're so busy in the back, we don't have time to go and implement things. And that's where I have to
Mm.
get the manager to be that, because that's what we hire managers for, right? They're supposed to manage the office, not the dentist.
Yeah. So would you like to share some of those pearls here? Would love to
There's
hear
a lot.
the
So
top 3 to 5 picks.
I mean, I guess like what we talked about the buying group. I mean, that's that in itself. I mean, anyone listening in, if you don't have a buying group, I mean, that in itself will probably it'll save you like, 5 to 10% on your overhead if your
Yeah.
overhead's already so high because you don't have a buying group. I mean, anything that you might buy, an average dentist might buy for, let's say, $100, that can get for like $40, right? And that adds
Mm.
up pretty quickly. Choosing a better lab is key. I know with marketing, the big concept people have with marketing companies is that, they all want this perfect marketing company that doesn't exist. And it's not that the marketing company is bad. They have a misnomer that marketing companies are all bad, right? They don't work.
Mm.
And a lot of them forget that it's your phone training at the front team side that is a part of that
Yeah.
problem. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, taking the time to audit your phone calls, calling your office you use a dentist and listening to what that call looks like would shock you. I mean, little
Yeah.
things like that. So there's so many pearls we talk about in the group. I mean, we've had probably almost like I don't know, like 1,000 pearls by now because I post a pearl
Mm.
every couple of days. The reason I give it a couple of days of time is to implement it, to process it. Sometimes people need time to to do that. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of good information. That's the key. It takes someone really proactive to go and implement that. Like, the phone call auditing here. Is a dentist going to spend, 5 minutes of their day auditing a phone call? They're probably not, even though it's so easy to do.
Mm.
But that one thing can literally make you so much money because every dental office has a phone system that sucks. Like, there's not one that's great unless they proactively made it great.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And yeah, and that's why a lot of people just don't get out of that rut, right? They're just stuck in there every time, just talking about all the problems they have because they don't feel that they have that they feel that their hands are tied when it comes to implementation. It's just taking a little break to understand where your issues are and then, just streamlining everything before just taking the head start on the
Yeah.
solutions that you need in your practice. So thank you so much, Dr. Han. Any last suggestions you would like to give people who just graduated or people maybe who are thinking about opening their practices, scaling them, or maybe they already own their practices, but what would you say how to navigate it?
Yeah. So for new grads, my advice would be, focus on as much communication skill as you can because you can always learn the dentistry side. That's easy. The harder part is the business side of it, right? So if you
Yeah.
don't know what courses to take or you don't know how to be better, seek out how to be better at that. If you're a business owner, I always say, beyond, the couple things that we've mentioned here, I'm a strong believer of you have to have a coach in life, right? The best people in life, if you ask them and survey them, they will always tell you, I had some person as a mentor, right? If you want a free coach, find a mentor. If you
Mm.
want a paid coach, find an actual coach.
Yeah.
Someone you have to have someone better than you in every single way in what you want to do to be better, right? If
Mm.
I if I look at, let's say, a father as my mentor in business, well, if my father is not a dentist, I can't get better at dentistry having that person as my mentor. So I have to
Mm.
find a dentist that's better than me, that's bigger than me, that's more successful. That way I can absorb any of that knowledge from them. So,
Mm.
finding a mentor if you don't want to invest money is important. If you're willing to, spend money to make money, then that's where the coach comes in. And Practice Success Academy is a free group for dentists that are always welcome to join. It's invite only. That helps me preserve the quality of the group. So people that request it, I talk to them first before I just randomly allow them in. That way I can preserve the quality of a high group. So I want to make sure this is a person that's going to want to grow and then, if anyone ever needs further help, we always offer a group coaching model that's super affordable, or
Mm.
even a one-on-one coaching model for those that want to buy back their time and scale their practice.
And before we close, I just wanted to ask you one thing that, we have, like you said before, we have so many academies for a lot of different things. So if you pick case acceptance, you'll find like a gazillion coaches, gazillion academies, a gazillion online CE courses, right? So how do you make sure that, the one that you're picking is the one that's going to be good for you? What's the criteria? How can a dentist make sure that he's investing in the right resource?
Yeah, so I think, like you said, there's a million courses out there. It depends on what you're looking for. What I learned a long, long time ago is when I hired my first coach, it was, I could go take a course on case acceptance, or I could go take a course on a business course, but I want someone to hold my hand because what better quality would I get than someone holding my hand the entire time?
Mm.
And it depends on what your goal is ultimately. So if I want to get somewhere as fast as possible, I would want someone doing it with me rather than me doing it all by myself. So the problem with taking a course is you're doing it by yourself, meaning you're taught and then you got to go do it yourself, right? That's the difference from a coach part where you go and invest and now they're with you the entire time of your, coaching sessions. And now you're not doing it alone, they're with you. And I think that's the biggest reason of success for most people is you have someone with you on the sideline the entire time, literally walking with you hand in hand
Mm.
versus the do it by yourself approach, which still can be done, but it takes so much longer.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Rehan. This was so insightful, and as always, it was a pleasure talking to you. And I hope we can have more sessions. Would love to talk more about, exclusively on case acceptance, communication, and things like that. But today, I would just like to thank you for taking time out for me.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me to talk.